Yeah, but
Mhm.
there's more to come, and the next one, it's not going to take nearly as long the break from Leapfrog to Take a Seat. The next one, it's already a work in progress, and I'll be announcing it soon, I guess,
Yeah.
when there's more to show for it. But there, we're working on it. We're working on it.
What about this?
Sorry. So what kind of made you want to go into this, like acting and stuff like that?
Well, as you know, Noah, I've been making videos for upwards of 10 years now,
Hmm.
and acting was never on my radar. It was always just like I always like to be behind the camera. But these Jacob, Trevor, and Corey and them, they made a film. I think it was what was it 2022, right? Yeah, Leapfrog, and the I went to the screening of it, and I was like blown away because it was fantastic. It was a fantastic little film. Not to say that it was little. It's feature length. So and I was like, hey Jacob, if I can be involved in the next one, that would be great. And I thought this was pretty fantastic. So if you could reach out to me if you guys are doing another one. And I wasn't even supposed to be in Take a Seat originally, but the original guy they had basically bailed, and they were like, "Hey, we think you'd be good for this, so if you want to do it, here it is." And I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." So, and I ended up really, really enjoying it. So
Hmm.
that's how I really got into this part of filmmaking.
Yeah.
No, I've always loved movies since I was a kid, and I always liked performing and being in front of a crowd and being a big personality. And movies were kind of an escape for me. And then I met Jacob in seventh grade, and I had just known like mainstream, movie making and knowing the movies that way. Jacob really introduced me to all the underground side of it, and he loved making movies, and I like performing, and so it kind of just went hand in hand, and it's been what I've wanted to do since I was a kid.
Yeah. Okay, so for Gabe, I'm going to go ahead and ask my first question before I realize I should probably gear it to more towards the acting side. Growing up, because I know you've made videos and stuff like you said, what was it that made you want to get into filmmaking? When it like started getting into your mind that like maybe this is going to be something that like I want to kind of like push towards. Like, was that kind of the start of that process, or like was there like an area of time beforehand where like you started to think maybe filmmaking is my thing? Because I know you said you've been doing videos and stuff for years now. And I've heard you
Oh,
talk
I've
about, yeah.
Yeah, I'm basically in the same boat as Trevor. I've always loved movies. I've known that I wanted to be like in the movie business since I was pretty young. I mean, I wasn't making anything major, but I think Leapfrog kind of tilted me towards acting a little bit that I kind of enjoyed. Um, but yeah, I've always wanted to. I think the first thing that I was like, man, I want to make a movie is I kind of I'm more of a horror fan
Mm.
mostly, and I would watch all these documentaries about how they're made, and I'm like, this is so cool. I want to do this for my life. It looks so much fun.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. So it must have been like a big daunting process to like, get together with all these people to, make a movie like this. Are there any like stories or experiences you'd like to share about the process, like being in the movie, acting in the movie, just like like what you learned from that experience?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. Corey and all these, but Corey, Jacob, and Trevor did most of the heavy lifting. They just told me where to be. Um, and I remember like the first day of filming my scenes. I think we only did two. I was only shooting for 2 days, but I think the first day was the hardest because I think we started out with the patch meetings. And I didn't even have that many lines. I was just so nervous because I've never done anything like that. Um, that I felt a little on edge. But it kind of got more comfortable with over time because I started to get to know the people I was working with, and then it just kind of felt like hanging out with friends.
Yeah.
But I feel like I had a pretty bad problem with memorizing lines because it is a little it's a little much being in front of the a camera sometimes.
Yeah, I imagine.
And what
Oh,
about you, T Dog?
oh yeah.
Not many with Take a Seat.
Okay.
During Leapfrog's filming, we got into a pretty bad car crash in the last scene.
Mm.
Um,
Like for real quick, like
and that was
hold on,
pretty
real
intense.
quick.
We
In
got
the
on the cops,
script or in
called
real
on us
life?
a few times, filmed
Like real quick, like was it in the script or in
in
real
real
life the car
life.
crash? In real, okay. All right, you can keep going. I just wanted to make sure.
It was in real life. Filming the last scene and got into a pretty bad car crash. Uh, you know, it was pretty intense. We got the cops called on us a few times. Crazy things have happened.
So, of course, this is kind of the big one. Like, I was going to kind of ask this later. What was the experience like finally having this movie that you've been, taking a part in for a while now? Finally having the movie premiere in a massive theater with so many friends and family coming to watch what you helped create. And in what ways did this motivate you as a filmmaker?
Um, I don't know. I'm sure it's pretty universal, but it was pretty surreal. Like getting up on that stage and seeing like basically a packed house, like so many seats being filled, and it was just in surreal that all these people came out to see something that we worked on. And I'm sure it was even more surreal for someone like Jacob or Corey who like put in all these hours like putting it all together. And not to downsize Trevor's involvement because I know he also helped write on the film, but at least from my perspective, it was pretty surreal.
Hmm. And
And
what about you,
how
Trevor?
did you feel?
I was definitely, as cliche as it sounds, a dream come true. It's always been like an insane goal to see your name on a big screen and sharing a part of the audience, like hearing everyone's reaction to the things that we made. It's crazy. The reactions were incredible. There were so many laughs. The audience really, took, you know, they were pretty entertained from the,
Yeah,
but
honest.
no, it was neat to see because and definitely it's just something that if I ever get lucky enough to see something like that again, then you know, it's crazy.
Yeah. To be honest, like as an audience member, that was kind of that was I feel really the most I've laughed in a theater for any movie I've watched. So, you guys did a good job. But yeah, I feel like that's really the only questions like I have just for you guys. If you guys would be okay with transferring over to, the four of you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So
Right. Are you
I asked the
if
same question to Gabe and Trevor. What was it that got you guys into filmmaking? What was it that created that spark of, oh, I want to do this going forward?
I'm actually going to answer first.
Okay.
So for me, it was Jacob Durham because the most experience I ever had with any sort of filmmaking is just silly videos I'd make on my iPad when I was like 12 or 13, in iMovie and stuff. Like I never like had any passion or drive for or any thought about making movies ever in my life. But then I met Jacob Durham and he asked me to be a part of Leapfrog, and that project changed the course of my life. And now I'm out here making movies. It's crazy.
Yeah. And you, Jacob?
Well, obviously it was from a young age, but I didn't really start making movies until like a while. Like Shelty was the first thing I like put together, and like it was like fully, I wrote a script, I edited it. That was the first thing. So I was kind of a late bloomer when it came to actually committing to making movies, because I didn't want like just some trash to
Yeah.
be like the first, like I wanted to be ready. But yeah, I just spent the first years of my life just ingesting everything movie related, watching everything, watching a bunch of, videos, just intaking as much information as I can. So when I did eventually start, it wasn't just some stupid thing. I mean, I recorded stuff on like my camcorder and like couldn't edit it because I just did it in sequence, like, and it would just create a movie. But yeah, it's just the idea of creating something and getting a reaction out of people, and just like you're what's the word, you get to live forever in a sense. You're remembered. There's a piece of history, like you're a part of history. It's documented. And I don't know, something about that comforts me. So I guess that's why I started, why I like doing it.
Yeah. This wasn't in my notes for questions, but it's kind of something that I just kind of thought of. So, was this the first movie you had premiere in a theater?
Yes, movie
Okay.
theater, yeah.
All right. So my question is, how did you get that to work? Like, what was like, how did you manage that? Like, how did you guys figure that out?
It was a ginormous pain.
It was a nightmare. I won't lie and say that I didn't spend 6 hours of my life poring over the contract that they sent us just so that we could figure out every loophole. Well, Corey found most of the
Yeah.
It was not a smooth process.
It was rough.
Corey's
Yeah.
probably better to answer the question, because I was just so frustrated and upset about. I just kind of like.
It was just, you know, email months later, maybe get a reply. It was just like it was a pain.
It was like getting a bunch of dry text messages from like, it was like ridiculous. It was like a booty call, but a professional email. And I'm like, we're trying to set up a movie premiere. Like, can we not just have a meeting? They wouldn't give us an in-person meeting,
Oh, that's
and they weren't
strange.
taking it. Yeah, it's weird. It was
No, we would type like professionally written paragraphs, and they would respond with like a sentence, like a couple months later. So it's a miracle it even happened, really. But I'm so glad it did, because it turned out so great. And on the day of, they were very great. They were very cooperative. They were very just helpful in general, and the whole entire event was just way better than I ever could have imagined.
Oh yeah, I bet they didn't expect 350 plus people to show up. Like, yeah, I heard that they were shocked from people interacting with them. I bet they did not expect that. So that's good to surprise them and like show that we are legit. It was nice.
Yeah, and at least I hope, like, with that experience, like they're kind of, nicer and more cooperative with people going forward now that they can kind of see this and say, oh, we need to actually take this seriously because this brings in an audience. So,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So, Jacob, this is more for you. So what was it like, gathering, like, such a large cast of people and like, all these people, like cameramen, like all these people working on this movie? What was that experience like of like, coordinating this, finding people who are interested in doing one thing and interested in doing another to kind of coordinate like a project like this? Because like, from what I've heard from like, big professionally made movies, it's hell. So how did, a bunch of indies, a bunch of local aspiring filmmakers, get this to work out?
Um, well, I usually just write for who I think makes sense for the movie. And if something comes up, if catastrophe happens, like recast like with Gabe or the female lead, we had to recast like 4 times. We couldn't find a female lead. That's a nightmare. for sure. But no, I'm like, okay, Corey's the lead. I had him in mind and I wanted to write it with him from the get. And of course, Trevor's always going to be there and stuff. So I really just like, I don't audition. I might start now that maybe more people want to be in it and like there's more, but we just take what we can get in like the indie game. So I just use my friends and I do like all the camera work unless I'm on film, then like Corey or Trevor or Gabe or someone else operates the camera, but I'm filming everything. And yeah, it's really just the small crew. But for extras, like for the patch meeting, that's a pain for sure. We have to make sure everyone is available at a certain time on a certain day, brings like 3 changes of clothes. Yeah, that can get headache inducing, but it gets easier each one. I'll say that. But
True.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it's ambitious for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
I also asked this question to Gabe and Trevor. Um, and I feel like this kind may have like hit you the most as, a director. What was it like going into that theater and finally seeing that huge audience of people who came out to go see this big project you were working on? Like, what was that experience like? Just like, seeing all that and like realizing, oh, so many people are coming to, watch my movie.
Oh,
Yeah, this is gonna be for both of you.
was yeah, I was a wreck. I was so nervous. I had going in, I'd almost given okay, well to preface actually going there and seeing it, throughout the editing process, we've seen the movie so many times that I just started to get anxious and start to doubt, like, is this movie even like anything worth watching? Like, what are people coming out to see? And then the day of comes and so many people are just walking through the door and I'm just yeah, it's all nerves. Like it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. Better than anything I could ever experienced. And like Trevor was talking about, the crowd and their reactions were just perfect. It was just an amazing time. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty surreal.
But yeah, like yeah, I don't even know if I fully processed it. And especially, I mean, that's part of the bit. You just have to when you have to go up on stage alone with a microphone, it's like you gotta not think about it too much. So I don't know if that does something to your brain where it's like, oh, these are 300 plus people sitting in a theater to see the movie that you made. Like, who's doing this right now? You kind of just, yeah, I don't know, just lock in. But it was crazy. And I'm still processing it. But it's definitely an ego trip. Like, you gotta, like, like it felt good. It like all the people in the process who like doubted or you know betrayal. It's just to be on stage. So we were in the spotlight. Everyone working on the movie. It was our time. It felt great. We felt like winners. I'll say that. It felt great.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome. Dream come true.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great to hear. Um, okay. So for my next question, I know a lot of movies, it takes a while, like, with cutting and editing and changing things to get a final script down. And then there's the filmmaking process and all that. Did this movie go through like, a similar process where it's like multiple versions of the script that like keep changing and stuff? Like how similar like is this movie than like the original kind of like script of it?
Well, okay. It was based on a play that me, Trevor, and Cole wrote in high school, but like everything is changed from it besides character names and that it's about a guy addicted to sexually attracted to chairs and he has to go to therapy. Like that's what the play was. It was that one scene with Dr. Soljic. That was the whole thing. So yeah, we didn't take any lines from it. We just started from scratch, just built off that idea and wrote a giant 50-page magnum opus, just based on that idea.
Yeah.
If you want
I mean, yeah, the the play was definitely very, very different than the movie. We wanted to make the story more self-reflective. Like as artists, we wanted it to be about art and the current like states of art, where art's headed, where artists are headed, where how culture is perceiving art, and just perspective in general. And I absolutely love that we were able to base off of the ideas from the play. But yeah, we definitely made it something, a different creature on its own for sure.
Yeah. And you talking about the movie being about art and where it's headed, which is a theme I definitely did see when I was watching the movie, especially with that scene with, George Lucas, the one and
Yeah.
only. Um, but yeah, thank you for that segue because I was going to ask this question later, but I think now's the perfect time to ask it. Um, so as artists, you're all artists. I consider myself an artist. What are your thoughts on the rise of artificial intelligence generation? And what are your thoughts of its impact on film creation and art in general? Because I know the response I've seen when it comes to, a lot of film scripts and stuff, like when people watch movies is, oh, it looks like it was made by AI. Like, on like an art standpoint, on a film standpoint, like, does this make you, because going into like, your future career paths, because I imagine you want to do this going forward. Um, does that make you more pessimistic about your life and your outcome of it, or does it give you a more optimistic approach? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
AI question, that's Corey can definitely start on that.
Yeah.
I've heard him talk about that multiple times, so he can give you a little rant, and then I'll kind of chip in.
I mean, it definitely doesn't make me more pessimistic or anything, because we're already starting to see how AI is inbreeding upon itself and causing just more terrible products by the second. I think AI, until it reaches a point where it continues to be more profitable for companies than actually paying artists. I don't think we have quite anything to worry about because they're starting to realize just how expensive AI is to upkeep, and just how bad it's getting. Really, it's kind of evolving backwards in a sense. But the thing about AI is, for example, if our scripts were public, on the internet, and an AI was to use our script for a database to write another script, obviously that's theft. So I'm very against AI being used as a writing tool and obviously as a like art, like graphic tool as well.
Hmm. Any other thoughts from the other three of you to add?
I mean, yeah, what Corey said. I mean, yeah, I just don't stay. It's not the same. It's art is art. It's supposed to be made by artists and not machines. And like, I'm not totally opposed to using AI as a tool in certain aspects, but when it comes to writing, that's such a creative like thing. Like if you're using it to maybe like enhance like picture or like add an effect, maybe I guess I don't know. But when it comes to the most creative aspects of making a movie, it should be primarily artists. That's not like a computer's not a person. Like that's not an artist. So it you can tell the difference clearly. It's like Madam Web and freaking
I still haven't seen that movie yet. I still haven't watched it. I don't think I'm going to.
yeah.
But
Yeah. Do you two have anything to add? It's fine if not.
um, I unfortunately find myself using AI frequently, but not in the sense of any real artistic meaning. I think it's funny because most of the time I use it to generate my friends exploding and or flying into heaven to meet Jesus Christ himself. Um, I love making just absolute garbage out of it because it at the end of the day, I 100% agree it's not a real art medium, but it's just I think it's a fun little off to the side, no real impact sandbox tool
Right.
to just mess around with every now and then.
Yeah, I feel like when it gets to the point where like, big companies are like using it to exploit, not having to pay employees. But yeah, I do agree that, just weird nightmare fuel is the only real way to use AI. Trevor, do you
Yeah.
have anything to add? It's all right if not.
Uh, there's just no passion or heart in AI whatsoever. Robots aren't artists, and art comes from the people that are making it, and it's just kind of takes away from everything that people who have any ounce of creativity in them stand for. So I don't like how it's shaping up with the future, but I mean that's why we're here doing what we're doing now.
Yes. Whether you were like an actor or writer or director, like whatever your role was, is your role in like this filmmaking process something that you want to do going forward as like a career path, like for the rest of your, working life?
Yeah. Well, for me, obviously, yeah. This line of work, this creating a movie is just way too much work and a pain to not have that be your passion. Like if it's just a side gig, like you got to be fully committed, at least in the director's seat. Like you can like, act sometimes and have some fun or write or, but like when you're taking in all of it, if it's handling all of it, yeah, I'm dedicated to this. This is what I want to do, and I've I'm on a roll right now, so we're just gonna keep it going. And yep, I'm here to stay. Yep.
Yep.
Okay, we can all answer.
Yeah.
I love acting, and acting's like what I enjoy the most of the whole creative process. I like writing a lot, and I've written a few things with Jacob. I'd like to try my hand at making something of my own at some point, but that's far down the line, and I'm just having fun doing what we're doing now.
How about you, good?
Oh yeah. Well, I haven't done um, to the degree of JD as far as directing or Trevor as far as acting because my Take a Seat was my first like actual meaningful acting role. But I've done tiny bits of direction with just some of the small projects that I've done, and I've been behind the camera a ton. And so far, I have loved literally everything that I have experienced as far as film. So I'm gonna be honest. I will be happy being any form, like working on film in any form whatsoever. I would be happy. Although the one thing I don't have any experience with is production, like producing a film. I don't know what that would entail
Right.
entirely, but so far, like as far as acting, directing, and operating a camera, I love it. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm open and will be involved in more projects with Jacob. Um, but right now I am taking a bit of a step back to. Sorry, there's traffic.
Honestly, I can't
So I'm
hear
in
it, so
school
it's fine.
studying game. Okay, yeah, I'm in school studying game design, so that's what I plan for my career path to be. But I plan on applying all the writing skills, editing skills. I did the musical score for Take a Seat. All the skills that I've learned working with Jacob and applying it to that career field. And like I said, I will be involved with more projects with Jacob in the future.
Yeah. Are there okay, so mainly for like the writer and like the director of this film, what films or filmmakers kind of inspired you, if any?
Yeah. David Lynch, as I have said before, inspires me, filmmaking wise and just that's the type of media I like to consume, that type of stuff. There's like 100 directors I could list, like Harmony Korine, and obviously the big ones that like you're a douchebag if you mention like Scorsese and Tarantino and Nolan are all great, and Wes Anderson, all those guys are great. But yeah, Lynch is who I really filmmaking wise get the most out of and relate to. But honestly, lately I've been more inspired by music to create movies and my form of art, which is weird. Like, I don't really watch the philosophical movies anymore. Like, I don't know why. Lately, I mean, I'll throw one in every now and then, but it's just like especially when I'm creating, I just like watch them bull crap, like just throwaway stuff, I guess, when I'm creating. But yeah, music is what really inspires me during a filmmaking process. And we create playlists all the time. And my biggest inspiration is Kanye West. He is my, I guess you could say, hero. and but he inspires me the most creatively, honestly, and self-esteem wise, and just that whole, yeah. So I won't go too into that, but that is who inspires me artist wise.
Yeah. Corey, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, so I haven't really seen a whole lot of movies. I don't watch like a whole lot of movies. So I have directors that I like, but really music is and musicians are my biggest inspiration. So uh I know specifically for Take a Seat, I could probably answer this question better. A huge inspiration for I guess the score of Take a Seat was Frank Ocean, uh Luke Hemmings, Sugar. There's a couple people, but that I really drew from when doing the music. But yeah, as far as like directors go, I mean, I could say some names, but it's really not like as valuable to how I write and like stuff compared to Jacob for sure.
Yeah. And is there anybody or any film that inspires like you, Trevor, Gabe?
Um, I've led the whole time. You led.
I mentioned before in a different interview the filmmaker Jim Hosking, uh, but the director of Greasy Strangler and Evening with Beverly Loughlin. But he's able to get such bizarre characters. He writes such bizarre characters, and I love the bizarre performances that he has in his films. And that's someone that's always inspired me. And on the acting side of things, if I ever got the chance to go balls to the walls with someone of that caliber, then that would be insane.
Yeah. You have anything
Yeah.
to add, Gabe?
Well, as far as like directing wise, I am in agreement with JD in this point, in that David Lynch is probably my biggest inspiration as far as direction wise. But as far as like acting, I've always been what they would call a bit guy. I love bits, just like little one-off jokes, and I never really thought about applying that to like a creative medium in any way until we started working on Take a Seat. So I guess my biggest inspirations as far as acting would probably be, Bruce Campbell. He's like, the scholar, if you will, of bit characters. But if we want to talk more modern, I would say I'd take a lot of inspiration from Charlie Day. I really, really like all of his work on It's Always Sunny. It's just like super funny. Uh, so I mainly pull from those two guys the most because they have the most kinetic, insane energy, which I just really, really enjoy. I really like.
Yeah. Okay. A couple final questions. Is there anything on the docket for what's coming next from you, Jacob, or you guys in general, if you're willing to share?
Right. I mean, obviously there is stuff coming up, but I mean, I haven't announced anything yet. I'll just say I've already started writing another movie. We're about 17 pages in. It's going to be a character movie. And if you thought Take a Seat was wild, buckle up for this one. And we're going to keep pushing the limits. And yes, there's more to come. And
Yeah.
I don't know. Do we?
No. That's good.
Yeah, again, you don't have to reveal anything. Just like,
Yeah,
it's,
no.
yeah, got it.
Okay, yeah, but there's more to come, and the next one, it's not going to take nearly as long to break from Leapfrog to Take a Seat. The next one, it's already a work in progress, and I'll be announcing it soon, I guess, when there's more to show for it. But we're working on it. We're working on it, and all these guys are going to be involved in some form. So
Yeah. Real quick, how long ago was Leapfrog?
2022.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
So
yeah.
from
Okay.
2022, and then Take a Seat came out 2024. So that's
So, like
2
2
years.
What is yeah?
Yep.
We started the script for Take a Seat in July 2022.
Yes.
My last question would be, is there anything, and I'm asking this to all my interviewees, that I'm going to be interviewing throughout the week, and I'm going to be compiling them at the end of my video. Is there anything you guys want to say to other young aspiring filmmakers? Maybe some advice, or just, what you want to say in general that they might, hear?
Yeah.
And you can take a moment to think if you want to.
Yeah, I don't know if you
I
can
have my
start.
answer.
You have
if you
yours.
want me
Yeah.
to.
Mine.
I said it at the end of my like long post about the premiere, but it is so important that as an artist, if you are an artist, if you create, to just keep doing it, keep creating, even if you don't put it out in the world. But I mean, the idea is that you share what you create with the world because other people can find meaning out of it. Like there's so many like random songs with like hardly any plays that are just like so impactful to those core people that do listen to it or do see a random YouTube video with like 20 views. It's just important to just never stop creating because that's exactly what this world wants with AI and all this stuff is they want to crush your soul, they want to crush your spirit, but that's the complete opposite of the point. You have to keep on creating and you have to keep on going.
And you guys can jump in whenever you want. Again, you can have time to think about your response.
Yeah. Well, what Corey said is really the gist. Just don't stop making what you want to make. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Because I've had so many people tell me to do something productive with my life and I should be doing something else. But I couldn't imagine doing anything more important than what we are doing right now. And it's just like keep those creative ideas flowing, and if you think it's good, don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Write it down, and it could be something incredible. you know you can really just do whatever I was about to say, you can really do whatever you want as long as you stay determined. And I know that's cliche, but it's true.
If you're not passionate about something, you shouldn't even try. I mean, I mean, it all comes down to passion. I mean, that's you got to create. You got to create and support other artists. I mean, you can't just,
Well said.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, and I know some people don't care about this, artists are the ones who are remembered. They're the ones that impact lives. And I know that, like, a teacher can impact someone's life, and, like, all those mundane jobs, they're appreciated. All the cooks and mechanics and whatever. We need those people. But people who look down upon people who want to create and express themselves and connect with others, like, that's just no good, because this is what changes people's lives. This is what inspires people to go out and do stuff, even if it is become a mechanic or something. That is an art form in someone's eyes. But yeah, how are we supposed to connect with each other as a human race if we're not releasing our experiences, whether it's film or music or yeah, I mean, this is the best art form in my opinion, even though music has been inspiring me more. It's always movies. That's the best art form. It's the best way to connect with each other, I think, to release everything that's in here for sure. It's been very therapeutic to me, and I'm sure Corey and Trevor and Gabe, to just release all that, and the people who reach out and say that they connected with it or they relate to that or it inspires them to do that, because I've heard that as well. It's just crazy. So yeah, never stop creating ever if that is what you want to do. And yeah, don't let the 9 to 5ers tell you otherwise. They can do their freaking thing, but yeah, this is what it's all about in my opinion. So
Okay.
And to add on, if I could, to what Jacob said, yes, obviously doctors save people's lives
Right.
physically. Like, yeah,
Right,
like
right.
obviously doctors, teachers, like these people are super important. But it is at the end of the day, it is artists that keep art, that keeps the human spirit alive, that keeps the human spirit going, the soul, you know, it feeds the souls. And that could not be more important in a time in this day and age in this society where mental health is at its lowest and most crushing and most daunting. We need that human spirit. We need that will to keep going.
And I'll add even more. Like, okay, just think about, and this might, you can cut this out.
No, that's fine.
Just think of what life was like before movies, like, or music, or like what people did for entertainment. Like the only thing, murder and rape people. Like that's what people did for entertainment. This is what keeps, yeah, us sane, is entertainment, and what helps us connect. Like I can't imagine what life was like for all this. So yeah, that's got to help too. I don't know. I just wanted to throw that in.
That's-
That was interesting.
Does anyone have anything to add? Anything they want to say?
I have some non-important stuff I could add and say
Okay.
that's not about art or like the world.
Okay.
It's just about the movie.
Yeah.
That's fine.
'Cause-
Yeah.
Because you know, you don't have to use it, but I don't. Okay, before we
Okay.
even got on this meeting, I didn't even know that you were at the premiere, so I want to say thank you for coming out.
No problem.
And you probably think, or you probably do know me way more than most people do after watching that movie. Because I did have sexual relations with that chair, kind of.
I was going to ask you about that, by the way, but then I was like,
that
maybe
I
not.
just want to
maybe not.
say,
Yeah.
no, you
I mean,
totally
we can, yeah,
can.
we
You
can
totally-
build up as much time. You can get as much footage as you want and use what you want.
Yeah, because my family was there at the premiere. You know, they had to see that, so it's like that was a whole nother part of the nerves of my day at the premiere is like, you know, them having to experience that. But I think we did it tastefully. I think it was great.
Oh yeah. And yeah, I love the reaction, like Trevor was saying earlier, hearing all those reactions to the lines we wrote, and especially that scene of just the shock, and because
Uncomfy.
uncomfy. It was fantastic. That brought, making all those people uncomfortable made me so
That was the
happy.
goal. That was the goal.
The group
I don't know-
screaming.
Yeah, it was.
It was like,
I don't know if you guys
No, I'm
heard me, but when I was in the audience and there was that part where, like, Corey was about to stick the chair leg up his, I literally, like, I put my hand over my mouth and I audibly yelled, "No!" Because I was
Yeah.
so scared because I did not know
That
how
was
the
a mummy
movie would
shot.
go.
yeah, me
I love
and Trevor were hanging on to each other like this,
it.
like, you know the scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark? They open it and it kills all the Nazis. Me and Trevor were just like, but it was the most incredible experience to hear that many people go, oh,
Yeah,
it's so awesome.
It's surreal.
Yeah.
Gabe, I believe I saw your grandma in the audience somewhere. What did she think of that part?
Yeah.
She probably forgot. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
honest.
All the grandparents. Yeah, my grandma was there. She didn't
Mine was
say.
too.
Yeah, his grandma. So yeah, you gotta. That's
My great grandma was there, and all she said to me after was that she needs to wash my mouth out with soap. So
the swearing.
yeah.
Yeah, I did want to thank you guys, like, honestly, because you guys honestly created like a really big memory for me. just being able to go out with like my old high school friend group and go into a theater and watch this movie that a couple people that I knew from high school like worked on and were in, where I can just turn to like my friends and go, "Oh my God, it's Gabe," or "Oh my God, it's Cole." That's still like a core memory of mine that like I'll never like forget and I'll never stop cherishing. And I just want to thank you
That's
guys
what
for
it's all
that
about, man.
wholeheartedly.
Hold on.
Yeah, and we'll be sure to send you an invite for whenever we screen the next one.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I was gonna
Yeah.
ask that too. I forgot. Like, are you planning on, going to like premiering these at theaters with your future movies?
Well, especially with the subject matter, not giving anything away with the next one, it will be tricky.
Yeah.
if
I get that.
but and the process, like I said, was exhausting. But I mean, it might be easier now that they know who we are and they saw what we can pull. But I don't know. The vibe might not be the same for this one, but maybe in the future for a future. But having it in a theater was awesome. So, I mean, yeah, we'll try to get it in theaters, but it is a painful experience, or at least this one
Right,
was the process. But it was amazing. It was worth it in the end. It was worth it. But yeah, we'll see. Obviously, a theater would be great, but we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, and now that I have the chance, because I did also have some questions when I was in the theater, did the people working at the art craft or like some employees like screen the movie before they showed it? Because I imagine they have to kind of like look at it before they.
Oh, they said.
They did. They said they have to watch the movie before, so, and we sent it to them, but they took so long and like weren't really communicated. I honestly doubt they even watched it. They might have
Yeah.
scanned through.
Yeah,
Right.
because there was an employee like kind of by this because we were like at the end of like the aisle and like there's an employee by like the exit way just kind of like watching the movie, watching the audience and stuff. And I was just wondering in my head when that scene came up, I'm like, what is this employee thinking? Like, do they know what they signed up for showing this
Okay.
movie?
And the movie's almost over at that point. It's too late to turn
Yeah.
away.
Yeah. Um,
But yeah, I felt like it was. Yeah, we tried to make it as tasteful as possible while also wanting to shock and get people in the seat, because like that was the whole selling point of the movie, at least for like people who don't really care. It's like you want to see a movie about a guy who's has sexual relations with the chair. That's the selling point. You're like, you hear that plot synopsis, you're like, oh, I want to see that. So we had to deliver on that. But I feel like we
Had to
made it.
commit.
Yeah, we had to commit. But I feel like, yeah, we made it as tasteful as possible. But I don't know if they reviewed the footage.
Yeah, we don't. They played it, so
They played it. That's all that
yeah,
matters.
there's no turning back. You
They
can't make
did.
people unsee that. So, but it was really
Oh
good.
yeah.
I'm going to be completely honest. Like I said before, I had no idea what the movie was going to be about going in. Like I just saw the name "Take a Seat," didn't realize that was the name of the movie. I thought that was the name of the event where it's like, "Oh, take a seat and watch this movie." And then like
Yeah, it was
I
kind
was
of a
gonna write,
double.
I was gonna
right.
watch the movie with like my friends and stuff, and we were talking about like what we thought was going to happen and stuff like that. And one of them brought up, "It's like, yeah, I can't wait for like the chair fucking scene." I'm like, "Excuse me, what?" And they're like, "What, you didn't hear about this?" I'm like, "Well, don't spoil it. I'm
The
very
chair.
curious."
That's
That's
right.
amazing.
Love that.
Yeah,
I love
but then it happened. I was like, this is
Yeah,
not what I
but
thought I was
that's
going to be
people.
watching tonight. But yeah,
That,
again, like the audio delay
Yeah.
is making this a little difficult. But is there anything else you guys want to add or say? If it's fine, if not, we can wrap up. You can have a moment to think
I
about
feel
it.
like we should say more. I'm trying to think of what should we say. Yeah, what should we say?
Do we address criticisms? Or I would not defend
Oh,
ourselves. So,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, we could. Yeah, okay. Well, we can address criticisms, I guess.
like,
What? Oh well,
I
we
mean,
can't address certain criticisms.
well,
Different people.
well, yeah, but like just the fact
Honestly, I
that
haven't really seen any of the criticism. I haven't really looked into like the audience response.
It
So.
has been overwhelmingly positive,
Mhm.
but yeah, there's certain things people typically critique. What, that some scenes go on for too long, or
I was gonna say, well, we make zero budget
oh,
films.
right. Oh
So,
yeah, the clicking.
oh no, I was gonna say it's some of the acting because we can't. We don't have. We're not spending money on actors, so like
Right, these
we
are
just start
people we know.
grabbing people we know. Yeah, so like
And like I said, I try to certain people for certain roles. So if like they just match the vibe. I try to match the vibe, and I think everyone did great. So yeah, but there was, I will say, and no one has noticed so far, but it was a ginormous pain for us editing. There, I don't know what it was, but there was a constant clicking noise over some audio on certain scenes, on certain pieces of footage that like you couldn't hear audio over. Like it was distracting because you just heard it like the entire time. So me and Corey's solution was to add a film reel sound effect over the entire movie to kind of mask it and kind of make it blend in. And so far, no one's
your brain just kind of zone like it sets it up at the very start of the
right. So
the
no
text
one
popping up.
really notices it. Like it's just the aesthetic for the movie. So that was us problem solving of catastrophe. Like
it was electrical interference with the microphone was what was causing the clicking in a lot of scenes. So did you have something you want to say, Kate?
I just wanted to say that the impression that it gave off with the clicking was that it was intentional, which is the exact right impression that you would want for something like that. You guys did it perfectly. I will say that because I thought it was just a part of the movie. It was part of the aesthetic, and it was kind of. I thought it was awesome because it made it feel like you were watching this movie on film,
right? Especially
historic
in the
theater.
theater,
Right.
especially in the theater.
On YouTube, it's a little like, well, what are we doing here? But I mean, it works. It works. I like it.
Yeah.
Trevor, is there anything you want to
Trevor,
add?
anything
It's
you wanna
fine if
add?
not. Okay. Yeah. So I'm just going to let you guys know. I don't remember the clicking. Looking back, if it is still audible through the film sound effect, the film filter. So if anything, like as an audience member, I'm just going to let you know that I don't remember it. So it must not. It must have not been that distracting. So
yeah.
Also.
I will. Yeah. What we've submitted it to a couple festivals that we're waiting to hear back from. We've never been in a festival ever. Mainly, I'm going to say because we use copyright music most of the time on every movie until
this one.
Take a Seat, which we were on a mission, and you can talk about that. That can be something you can talk about. We were on a mission. We had to. I wanted to, and Corey wanted like we wanted to make the soundtrack an entire. So Corey just wrote all the music for the movie, performed all the music as the soundtrack. There was no songs, no copyrighted songs. As much as we wanted to use a couple, we were trying to follow that rule to a T. To one, try to get into festivals, I guess, or like, and just because to match the, I feel like the style, to make it feel more epic. And yeah, I mean, he can talk about that because the music was his. I mean, I helped a little bit with some lyrics and stuff and ideas, but it was Corey.
So that actually reminds me of a question you asked earlier that I don't know if he fully answered about like differences in the final product versus the script.
I'm
think
sorry
you
if like that
mentioned.
not answering anything is because of me cutting off. Like I have a problem with that, just cutting people off. I apologize that that's why. But
No,
yeah.
no,
Okay.
no, you're all right. Because that's one of the things is I think when we first started writing the script, we weren't committed yet to having an original score, so we might have put like a song. Yeah, we had like a song
Oh
or two
right,
in
yeah,
there.
we did. We had Sister Christian by Night Ranger, which was in the original play script, which was a joke, and then we had Earth Mover.
Yeah.
Which was going to be the chair sex scene, which if you listen to that song, I feel like that fits.
Yeah, the chair sex song is titled Eurydice. It is heavily inspired from Earth Mover, the song Earth Mover.
Yeah. Because I wanted that vibe. As soon as I heard that song, we had to.
It's perfect for the uncomfiness, the overwhelming.
Yeah. But
but I was gonna say there's like a couple other small things like when Mo zones out in Dr. Soljic's office, that was originally going to be a childhood flashback. Just things. There are little things that just we had to just completely change around because of certain circumstances.
Yeah, that's really the one thing. There was going to be a flashback scene with a child actor and like Mo looking at a family chair, and that's like his start of his addiction. But that was just too ambitious. And it's like, where do you find a kid? And it's like, we're already so behind. Like
Yeah,
it
we're
was
behind,
it was ridiculous. And yeah, like you said earlier, is it hard to get everyone on schedule? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can say this: the Dr. Soljic scene with
yeah.
Trevor.
Mhm.
People will not notice this, I hope. The scene, the footage of Corey and Christy, and then the footage of Trevor, completely different days. Completely different days.
Christy was
months
not
apart.
there for all of Trevor's, like the shots of Trevor's face.
Yeah, and him react completely different days.
Yeah,
like,
it was all editing to make it.
feel like it's apart. So they're talking to like no one, and Trevor's talking to just Corey. And when Trevor has to push them out of Christy out of the room, he's pushing no one out of the room. Christy was not there.
Right. And then we got like an insert shot when he had his beard.
Yeah, we had
shaved.
insert shots
it was
of
weird.
Christy and of Trevor, and
It's a miracle the scene turned out as fluid as it
oh
did.
yeah, we were like, this scene's not gonna work.
It was a
but
beast.
it's like one of the best scenes in the movie.
I didn't even know. Yeah, I didn't even notice.
Yeah,
And he did like
Yes.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Like
Dr.
he-
Soljic.
I didn't
like-
notice either. Yeah, he did a real good job.
Yeah, Dr. Soljic might be one of my favorite characters.
Oh yeah,
I
for
swear,
sure.
I literally turned to Caden, who was sitting next to me, and said, I think the therapist is my favorite character so far. Like, I agree that.
yeah,
He
he's,
doesn't think so, but
he's a
it
fan
was
favorite. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
ridiculously funny to see that on the big screen.
You know, you were so
Surprise.
funny, Trevor. Like, I gotta say. Just like,
Thank you.
even if like you didn't write like your lines and stuff, like just how you say them and like how you voice them and like it's just really and like your delivery. That's what the word I was looking for. Your delivery is really good. So yeah, that was a really good scene, and I can't imagine the movie without it. But
And the bloopers are hilarious. We just dropped a blooper reel for the movie. It's 28 minutes long. Jacob did it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I sent you the link though.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Especially like Dr. Soljic's bloopers and stuff.
yeah, to be
Um,
honest,
another-
yeah, sorry.
But no, you go ahead. You go ahead. Because that's
I
my
was just
little.
gonna make a comment like at some point in the movie, like I forgot it was like a indie film, and I was like, man, I can't wait for him to go. And it was near the end. I was like, I can't wait for him to go inside that IKEA and fuck stuff up. But then I realized, oh yeah, they probably couldn't get in there in the middle of the night.
No.
Yeah, no.
yeah, we filmed the security guard scene. That was filmed outside of an AMC
Yeah, it was
that we worked at the time. So Braden pulling the gun and stuff, like it's like, yeah, we cannot film this at outside of an IKEA. We have to film it at a place we know and like we have permission. So that's why I got the establishing shot when we went and filmed the entire opening of Corey at IKEA,
Mhm.
and then we just waited until night and I filmed that establishing shot and just slapped it on.
Yeah.
So people think he's driving up to
Mm.
IKEA, but it's not IKEA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
But you fooled me because I thought you were outside of IKEA, and I'm like, wait, why didn't he go inside? That would have been such a cool
Right.
part. But yeah.
all this
Right.
movie magic.
Yeah, I love the magic of
Yeah.
movie making. It's incredible.
Yeah. One last thing. Thank you guys so much for doing this interview. It was
Oh
so
yeah, yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
it was
been a
amazing
blast.
to like listen to you guys talk, and like especially when you guys are talking about behind the scenes stuff. That's like really like what I'm really interested in, like personally, is just I want to hear the behind the scenes stuff. It was really fun to talk to you guys and kind of hear about the experience of making this and like your guys' thoughts. And yeah, thank you all for accepting to do this interview, of course. So
It was fantastic. Yeah, thank you for. I love doing stuff like this. It's free promotion. It's
Yeah.
fun to talk about it with someone like you, and yeah, took my mind off things. Yeah, and yeah, this was fun.
So if we could have sat here for hours and talked about all the behind the scenes stuff, it was like a personal
Oh, yeah, it was
conversation. Like
fantastic.
there's so much behind the scenes, like craziness.
Yeah,
like
as long,
Yeah.
as long as we
Yeah,
yeah,
Because-
those two.
standing the
Yeah.
whole time.
The
It's-
last
it-
thing, the Wanderer scene. We thought people
a
were either gonna
surprise. Okay.
yeah. That was the make or break scene. I turned to Corey when the Wanderer scene, when Gage's scene. I was like, here we go. This is it. This is the make or break. 'Cause
people have loved it apparently.
Oh yeah, it's a fan favorite. People love the Wanderer.
Yes,
scene.
I love. You're talking about the part where like it was playing that song and everyone was clapping, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's a completely different thing.
I
Right.
don't want to. I don't want to say I started it. I don't want to say I was the person who started like the personal
Like,
clapping.
sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
But I do feel like I was at least very early on in the clapping to where people started following. So I don't want to say I was the one who started that, but if you want
Well,
to, you can
thank
give me credit.
Thank you. This meeting's about to cut off on us, but
Yeah,
just
yeah,
thank
yeah.
you all.
Okay, I'll hop off here. Thank you guys so much. I'll talk to you guys soon, and we'll
Yes.
keep
Yeah.
in touch when it comes to me sending you stuff. And yeah. Thank you guys so much. Yeah. I don't do exits well. Just cut off.
It's okay.
Bye-bye.
It's gonna
See you,
come
man.
up
Thank you so
Bye,
much.
Where have you been anyways? You got off work hours ago.
Took the car to get an oil change. Got a little sidetracked looking at some furniture.
What's going on with him? He's been acting strange lately. He's weirdly protective over our guest bedroom.
Walter and I used to struggle in a lot of the same ways, but we saw a counselor and it got us right back on track.
As an artist, it's our duty to change the game, man. Now, I don't care if it's a damn dinosaur age or a post-apocalyptic wasteland. There is no excuse great enough for you to just sit there and comply. We need vibration, and the world needs it, man.
But how can I give the world what it needs without sacrificing what I need?
What about this?